Hello, I'm Clay Staires, and welcome to session 2 of our team building level here in Winning in the Workplace. Again, I hope you enjoyed our very first session. It's pretty much just an introduction to what the heck we're going to be doing in this series of training. Again, it's all about moving from just being a worker. Remember talking about that? Just being a worker. If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. We have to move and expand our mindset, expand the way that we look at the work, so that we can see it through the lens now of, if you want it done right, get other people to do it with you. Remember talking about that? And everybody with me right now, just say with you. Okay, now really, I want you to say it, with you. That's the key thing. That's the mindset. That's the doorway. It's the gatekeeper. It's the way that we want to view other people that we are bringing alongside. So we talked also in our last session about becoming viable. Remember about becoming a viable worker, and the V in viable was all about vision. It's how you see the people that you are working with around you, and how important it is for you to see them as people that can help you move forward, as people that can come alongside and help you begin to achieve the goals that you're wanting to achieve. Today we're going to be talking about, as it says here, developing followship. Remember, that's where we finished off in the last session was, how do you get people to actually follow you? Are you kidding me? Again, this is one of the main problems that we have with management across the board here in the United States, is we've taken great employees, and because they were great workers, we've promoted them to managers. Okay, I get it, but unfortunately, we overlooked the importance of them becoming team builders. Oh, that's the rub right there. Because now you've got a manager who looks at work through the lens of, if you want it done right, you've got to do it yourself. And so they try to delegate, but nobody does it as good as they do. So they throw their hands in the air, say, move out of the way, just let me do it. And now because you're a manager, you have multiple things that you're in charge of. So your responsibilities have expanded substantially. But unfortunately, your mindset is still, now I have so much that I have to do. So again, as we're talking today, we're going to be going over how to develop followship. Now, one of the key things that separates this training, this winning in the workplace training, from all of your other team building trainings is, well, I'm not just going to sit here all the time and say, it's important that you build teams. I think we get that. I think we understand that it is important to build teams. We get the concept, we get the idea. But the question is, how? How do I build a team? How do I actually, what are the steps, what are the words that need to come out of my mouth to help me know how to get somebody to actually follow me? So we're going to start tapping into that today. I want to give you very practical steps. Some of you may have gone ahead and read ahead in the notes here, but today we're going to be talking about how to build that relationship. Exactly, just what steps do I need to go through to build a relationship so that I can begin to get people to follow me and get people to come along. But hey, I want to start out with this statistic. Just found it earlier today. Still got it hot on my phone, okay? Just found it just before I started today. I wanted to know, so what is the percentage of employees that actually trust their bosses? This is what I found right here, straight off the internet right here, okay? From Forbes magazine. Forbes magazine, this is back in January of 2013. Here's what it says. 82% of people don't trust their boss to tell them the truth. 82%. That is incredible. Just want to read a little bit here. Edelman's Trust Barometer from 2013 was recently released with the results from 31,000 respondents in 26 markets. Okay, so 31,000. And he said, we are clearly experiencing a crisis in leadership. 82% of employees do not trust their boss to tell them the truth. Guys, this is a problem. This is a problem. No wonder 71% of employees are disengaged at work, and 24% are actively disengaged. No wonder, because of this breakdown of relationship, the breakdown of trust that we have going on right here in the marketplace. So let's begin diving into some of this. As we start out here, how do we get people to want to follow us? How do we get people to follow us because they want to? Not just because they have to, because I'm the boss, so you have to follow me, but how do I get inside of their wanter? As my dad, Don Staires, said all the time, we got to increase the wanter on this. I think I started learning this stuff all the way back growing up as a kid with my dad teaching me this type of thing. So I've made the mistake of putting someone into positions before. I've done this. I've done it several times where I put somebody in place simply because they had leadership potential. Does that make sense? Get in your head really quick what that means when you have leadership potential. You may know what I'm talking about. You may look at people right now that you have promoted and put into a position that has more of a responsibility. Did you do it because they were already manifesting those qualities? Or did you promote them because they had the potential and you thought that if you promoted them, that they would naturally step into becoming a better leader? Have you done that? Yeah, I've done it too, way too many times, thinking that the promotion would actually help them grow. And I found myself many times in a hot spot finding that, the promotion didn't help them grow, and now they have position without the characteristic that they need to follow up on those responsibilities. So we want to be really careful with that. So first of all, one thing we want to be careful with is we want to make sure that we don't promote too soon. We want to make sure that people actually have the characteristics and are experiencing and are using those characteristics, skills, knowledge, character that are so important for the next level before we bring them up. So it's simply their ability. Now here it is. If I give them the position because of their leadership potential, but I overlook their followship potential, man, I can find myself in a really tight spot. Did this just about a year and a half ago. Promoted a gal into management. You know, she was a great gal. People knew her, all right? She wasn't like a dark horse. Everybody knew who she was. But the problem was, the thing that I overlooked was that she didn't have a lot of people that were excited to be around her, okay? Again, great gal, really enjoyed her. And man, did she have energy to step to the next level. She came to me and began saying, hey, Clay, I want to do this. Hey, Clay, I want to do that. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And because of her desire, not because of her skills and her knowledge and her fellowship ability, I gave her the position. And I found out really quickly, this is going to be a problem. Because even as the transition began to start, it became very apparent that she was trying to lead, but people didn't want to follow her. I even followed up with several of the people. So what's the big deal? What's the big deal? Do you not like her? You know, is there something going on? No, Clay, she's a great gal. I like her. But for some reason, I just don't want to do what she's asking me to do. I don't know what it is. Somebody else could ask me, Clay, you could ask me to do it. No problem. I don't have any problem doing it. But when she asked me, there's something about it, and I just don't want to do it. So once again, here was a gal that had a lot of energy. Here's a gal that had a lot of desire, but her fellowship ability was pretty low. People were not willing to follow her. So I gave her this position a little bit too soon. And it led to some very stressful times. Again, we eventually had to transition her to a new spot because that spot just wasn't working. So this requires a measure. To build this fellowship, it requires a measure of trust between one person and another person. Before I'm just willingly going to follow you, there has to be a measure of trust that is built there. A confident team builder, as we say here, a confident team builder is the same thing as a confident trust builder. To build team, we have to begin with building trust. So that's what we're going to dive into today. I don't think it's rocket science, but I think it's worth us taking a good look at today as we go through this. So here we go. Building a team is all about building trust. You may have seen John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. I want to talk about those just briefly here. He's got the very bottom level, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into circles, okay? And the first level is we lead out of position. We lead out of position, meaning, as it says here in your notes, people follow us because they have to. I am the boss. I've gotten the position, so you have to follow me. There's no interest in relationship. There's no interest in developing people and stuff like that. It's just people have to follow me because I'm the boss. So again, it's not that this is wrong, okay? It's not that this is bad. The problem is that this is limited. We want to be able to expand our leadership capacity bigger than just this. Again, you will be able to get some team built simply because you're the team leader, simply because you're the boss. You'll be able to get a measure. But I promise you, when things get difficult, when all of a sudden there are bigger responsibilities that are going on and time pressures and deadlines and oh my gosh, people are having to stay extra and we're losing money and things begin to get hot and tight, you will find that your leading by position only will be limited because you'll have this measure of responsibility that's out here, but you'll only have the leadership capacity that's in here. So we want to expand this circle. And so, as you remember from Maxwell, we move from leading by position to leading by permission. How do we get the permission from the people? How do we get people saying, Clay, it is okay. I give you permission to lead me? It's going to be very interesting because it is important that people actually say, I give you permission. I'm willing to follow you. This is where we start picking up this fellowship. And then as we move on, we've got the permission. But again, if you stop there, here's what I found a whole lot. Everybody's happy. Everyone likes each other. We're all having a great time, but nothing's getting done. Okay? So we have to move to the next level. When we really need to get production done, we begin to lead by production. And this is actually getting things done. People are now respecting you. People are following you because of what you have done for the company. And that's key. People follow you because they see you as a leader in the company or in the industry or in the market. And they respect that and they want to have your measure of success. So they begin to follow you simply because of what you have produced for the company. It's a great level to aspire to. But again, it takes a good worker, all right? It takes a real good worker to be able to get things done in the time frames that they need to get done. So this is the next level here. We lead by production. And then we have this next level, which is very, very rare. But, man, if you can tap into this thing, you are really becoming a master leader. Okay, by getting people to follow you more and more. This one is leading because of personal development. In this, people are following you not just because of what you have produced for the company, but what you have produced in them personally. Okay, does that make sense? Because you have invested in them. I want to tell a quick little story here about what can happen when you tap into this measure. Okay? I once had a time leading a group, and this can be a tough group, all right? It's going to be a very tough group, but leading a group of 20, 21, 22, and 23-year-olds, okay? It can be really tough because they can they can just switch overnight. I talk a lot about, it's like building with green wood. Everything's going really well, and then all of a sudden somebody warps on you because they get an idea. Hey, I think I'm going to go backpacking in the Adirondacks, okay, or something like that, and they're off. So the idea here is I had 50 of these college, out of high school age kids that I was training and developing, and we were working together in a business. I was over them. And I began to find out that, man, we were spending a whole lot of money. This was actually at a summer camp. So these kids were rolling in for a 2-month period, and we were paying them quite a bit of money to come and not do a very good job. I mean, some of them were good, but not very many of them. But the problem was we were paying them all the same. So I got in my head that, I sure would like to get to a point where I'm not having to spend all this money. How could we fix this? So what I began to do was I began a mentoring program, began a personal development training program. And I began to spend time with them in small groups as well as one-on-one. And we spent time, we had specific curriculum that I love to write. It's beautiful, all right? We wrote this curriculum and we put it together. And what we found that in a short amount of time, okay, so this was at a summer camp. So there was one summer and then the next summer and then the next summer. So by the time the third summer came around, we had these students so locked in to what they were getting, what they were receiving from coming to this particular summer camp, that I was able to tell them this at the end of that summer. Catch this. I actually told them this. Next summer, when you come back, I'm not going to pay you. As a matter of fact, when you come back next summer, you are going to pay me. To come and work, you are going to pay me. And we had 86% of them come back. 86% came back because of what they were getting, because of the personal development. Guys, this is how powerful. We went from spending $68,000 on salaries in 2 months to spending $20,000 in just 2 months. It was a huge shift in our bottom line as a company. And it was a nonprofit organization, so it helped us out tremendously. And it also created what we called the Furnace Training Program. You can find it on thefurnacetrainingmanual.com online. Right now, it's still there. You've got all these videos of me doing this very same thing right here in my front room with my dog sitting on the couch, okay? So very interesting as you move to this personal development. And then Maxwell talks about this final piece that's way out here. And this is like lifetime work type of stuff, but you are actually leading out of what he calls personhood. And this is people are just following you because of your name, because of who you are. Words like John Maxwell come to mind. Zig Ziglar comes to mind. Mother Teresa comes to mind. Okay, you got the name. I'm going to follow you because of who you are. But again, this is like lifetime achievement here. Most of us get trapped right here. And we don't make it out of this first circle because we get the position and we're thinking, oh my gosh, I have all this responsibility. People have to do the work. And so we continue to just say, work, 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 work. They have to do the work because I'm telling them to do the work. But unfortunately, it doesn't work out really that way. Leading from position, this is something that we say. I mean, I got myself caught saying this one time as a school teacher. Here I am, inner city school, okay? Inner city, difficult crowd. Talking to a bunch of juniors in science. And I'm giving them an assignment. Do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. This is early on in my teaching career. Had one of the students raise their hand. Why do I need to do that? This is what I said. I'm not real proud of this. This is what I said. Because I told you. That didn't go off very good. The student ended up kind of sassing back. And because I didn't understand this principle, I pushed back. You'll do it because I told you to do it, because I'm the teacher. And that thing just began to escalate and escalate and escalate. Again, not very proud of this. The student ended up leaving in handcuffs. You know, it could have been so much better had I handled it better. Now, again, at that point, I blamed it on the student. They were this, they were this. But really, it was me because I didn't realize this idea of followship. This is very important here. I got a lot of my early leadership positions because I had personality. So I found a lot of times that I could lead people simply because I was a fun guy, you know? I had some sense of humor and I could get people to follow because of my personality. You may know exactly what I'm talking about. People for a long time have followed you simply because of your personality. This is where this would fit right here. You get permission because of your personality. But I'll let you know, personality can only go so far. Under pressure, under tension, under time restraints, when there's not as much money, if you're just leading by personality, your personality will not be enough. It will fail you. And people will begin to fall off because you are just leading out of personality. So this is something that I had to learn, and you don't have to go through the pain that I went through unless you want to. Okay, that was kind of me. I kind of liked going through the pain. I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to go learn it my own way. You know what I'm talking about? Might be some of you guys in the crowd here. But this was what I learned early on. If I had personality, I could lead. But I didn't understand this other stuff. It took me a long time to get to this point. So again, these are the 5 levels of leadership that Maxwell tells us about. And again, I got most of my leadership positions simply because I had this personality. So people would follow me. I didn't know a whole lot about work. I didn't have a good work ethic at all, okay? If I could get other people to do the work, that was good for me, all right? I'll sit over here under the tree. But the problem was, I was never going to be able to get to this level because I did not enjoy the work. So I just continued to rely on getting permission so I could get everyone together. We could have a great time. But man, it was hard to get to production. It was hard to get to that next level.